Hi, we're gonna make waffles. Hi, this is Elizabeth with Live Simple, Live Free, and we decided to do a breakfast for supper tonight. And we're gonna probably cook up a little bit of bacon and have some eggs, but I wanna go ahead and also make some waffles for supper. And I wanna make blueberry waffles, and Bill and I really enjoy having fruit syrups. I've got my Thrive Life blueberries here. They're freeze dried, and from a company called Thrive Life, and they naturally, all of these different kinds of freeze dried foods will naturally form a little bit of a powder in the bottom, which I've discovered is wonderful to use for things. But I'm also going to deliberately make a powder so easily from these blueberries and make syrup that'll go on top. And I'm trying to be really careful to stay away from sugar at all right now. So I'm going to use some monk fruit, and it'll be nothing but the berries, which are very, very good for you, and some monk fruit, and I'll be able to make a syrup to go on my, for me, gluten-free blueberry waffles. So I'm looking forward to it. I think this is going to be fun. There's a little bit more information about Thrive Life you can find in the description below, to get to our website. Unopened cans are good for 25 years, and then it's good for a year after you open it. That's cool. But anyway, this fruit powder, in yogurt, cereal, in all sorts of things, is just yummy. But I'm going to make syrup. Alrighty. I'm going to try to give measurements as much as I can, but it'll kind of be just however you want the flavor to be. But I've got my can of blueberries here, and I'm first of all going to put a bunch of them in my bullet and powder them up. They're completely dry. Yep, you hear that nice crumbly sound? So I'm going to put some in here. That should be plenty. I just opened this can, and I had a little bit left in my last one, and I'm going to go ahead and put that in too. You can see right here at the bottom, it forms this really lovely powder. It's nice. Okay, there we go. Now, when I make the waffles, I'll just put the berries right in them. But for the syrup, I'm going to make a powder. Put my bullet together here. There we go. That's all it takes. That sticks very nicely to my granite counter. Oh, there we go. That keeps it stable, which is good. Okay, now this powdered up easy and beautifully because it's very, very dry. There's not a lot of debris left on the blade. And if you look here, just got some nice blueberry powder. There we go. All right. One blueberry. That'll be good in there. I will get this rinsed out right away, but you don't have to watch me do that. It's no big deal. But I'll get that cleaned up right away. Okay, now I have monk fruit here. And Bill and I have discovered that the monk fruit is like it's just a natural sugar substitute, but it doesn't seem to have any aftertaste, especially for Bill, and he appreciates that. So I'm going to put some of that in there, about 1/3 of a cup, and then I'll check it and kind of see how the flavor is, so let's see if it's kind of sweet enough. All right. Now I'm going to start out with just enough water to really get it totally covered, and then I'm going to heat it. And if I need to add more water, I will. Now, of course, this is blueberries, so don't let it get on stuff without cleaning it off immediately, because blueberries will really stain. Okay, can you see? I've got this nice, kind of a slurry of blueberries with some of the monk fruit sweetener and water. All right. Clean this up right away. I want to steam them. Okay. Now the first time I tried this, I used one of my bamboo spoons to stir it. And I discovered that then that meant I had a blue bamboo spoon. So I'm going to make sure I've got something metal. So go ahead and start out with a fairly high heat here on my stove. I'm going to get just a nice metal spoon. And as the heat starts to build, I want to stir this a lot, because I don't want to take a chance on it burning on the bottom. I had thought when I made it the first time that it might need some cornstarch or something to kind of thicken it up, but it doesn't seem to. It seems to kind of form a nice thick thing as soon as it cooks a little bit. Now I'm going to try this. I'm going to let hubby try it. Now, I'm double dipping, I know that, but it's for us. Okay, see what you think about the sweetness.
Fine.
Oh, good, okay. So, with that amount of the blueberry powder, and a third a cup of the monk fruit sugar, and I think that measures the same as regular sugar. So if you wanted to use regular sugar, I think about a third of a cup for about this amount should be good. Okay, so I'm going to be stirring it until it starts to just really bubble. Let it cook for just a few minutes. Alrighty, I'll be back. Okay, now it's starting to bubble a little bit, and I want to get my heat turned back down to just kind of a medium high. It's bubbling just a little, and I'm going to stir it. When it really gets to where it feels like it's kind of thickening, then I will just turn the heat off, and I'll keep stirring it until it starts to really settle down and it's not bubbling anymore. I also do not want to let this pop all over my stove, so I'm trying to keep a real careful handle on it. I don't want to boil it, I want to just simmer it. Alright, this has been simmering nicely on like a medium heat for a good 10 minutes now. I think it's very important to keep stirring, because I sure don't want the sugar to stick or burn to the bottom of my pan. It's starting to get a kind of a thickened consistency. You know, the sugar's starting to change its form a little bit like it does. I don't want it to get to the hard crack stage. I just want it to be like a little bit thickened. So, okay, I think I'm at a point now where I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat off. And then I'm going to stir it until it stops bubbling. And I know it's not going to stick. And I think for tonight we're going to go ahead and let it stay warm and use it warm on top of our waffles. But the last time I made it, I also put some in the fridge, and it set a little bit. It was very nice. And I'm realizing that not only would that be very nice to spread on pancakes or waffles, but I think that if I did something like that, I could make freezer jam. So that could be really good. Okay, I don't think I'm getting very many bowls anymore. If this was a gas stove, of course the heat would be off immediately, but since it's electric, I'm kind of letting the heat dissipate here. Give it a little bit more time to simmer, but I'll go ahead and start pulling the heat down off of it. Bill and I have just been talking about it, and this would be good with strawberries. I was thinking even the mango. The cherries would be good, although they're bigger and a little bit thicker, so they would powder differently, but I still think the cherries could make a wonderful one. Peaches, I could add lemon to this. You could put some together and put a little vanilla in with it, or mix some of the fruit together.
Raspberries?
Oh, of course, raspberries. Oh, yum. Blackberries. Yeah. So there's a lot of good possibilities. Not sure it would work with banana, but a lot of good possibilities. Okay, now, I hope you can hear me with all this stirring. I'm hoping it's not going to be irritating in the background. Okay, I'm going to let that just sit now. And see, I've got to, yeah. All right, I'll just let that sit there. Yeah, you can stand there because the burner's getting cooled off now. Okay. Especially because it's blueberry. I went ahead and carefully cleaned out my bullet, and it was just a fine powder. It rinsed out very, very easily. So I'm going to put that away, and I'm going to go ahead and pour my syrup into my little pitcher. All right. Beautiful. Okay. This is going to be all ready for our waffles tonight. And I'm sure we'll have a little bit left over and it'll go in the fridge. Oh, that smells so good. Okay, I'm going to make my waffle batter with blueberries. Now, one of the things that's easy to remember when you're thinking about making pancakes or waffles is that you have 3 dry ingredients and 3 wet ingredients that it must have. The dry ingredients are flour, baking powder, and salt. And the wet ingredients are egg, some form of fat, and milk. And so I would often have put my dry ingredients in one bowl and my wet ingredients in the other and gotten them all blended together nicely each and then poured them together. But I'm going to go ahead and use some of my Thrive Life freeze-dried ingredients. So I'm actually going to be using the scrambled egg mix from Thrive Life. It's just egg. It works beautifully when I'm baking. When I'm making things, it just works gorgeous. And then I'm going to be using their wonderful freeze-dried milk. And so really the only liquid that I'll be adding to this, besides the fact that I'll be putting water in it to turn the milk powder into milk, is the oil. I'm going to go ahead and use some extra virgin olive oil for my fat. So all right, so I'm going to start out and I'm going to put in 2 cups of flour. Now this is, honestly, I've looked for a long time because I have to go gluten-free, and this is hands down the best gluten-free flour I've ever found, and I can just use it just like regular flour. It's not going to have the gluten stretchiness if I was trying to make bread or something and knead it, but it maintains a wonderful consistency, especially for things like this. So I'm going to go ahead and just put in 2 cups. There we go. So yeah, I really have appreciated this gluten-free mix, flour mix here. And see, it looks and acts just like regular flour. Okay, got 2 cups. All right. I always want to put the lid right back on because I don't want it absorbing moisture from the ambient room, moisture. Okay, so flour. And then I have 3 teaspoons, or actually a tablespoon, of baking powder. I love those little dishes. Good old Pioneer woman. Man, I love her stuff. These are so cool. And I'm going to put in a half a teaspoon of salt. So that gives me my first 3 dry ingredients. It would be flour, baking powder, and salt. I'm going to go ahead and make sure the baking powder gets mixed in very nicely. Now, I'm going to go ahead and also now put in my egg and my milk, because I'm going to start them out in a powdered form. So about a third, 3 tablespoons of this forms a cup of milk. So I'm going to go ahead and use This is 2 tablespoons. It's 1/8 of a cup. And then I'm going to probably put more than a cup worth, so I'm going to go ahead and put in another full 1/8 cup scoop. And that's that lovely milk powder. And then the eggs here, the only ingredient in here is egg. So it's in a powdered form, not like Bill used to get in the Army with powdered eggs. This has a kind of a shininess to it, and if you think about it, an egg white gets shiny when you cook it and like fry over easy eggs. I always thought that was really pretty cool. So 2 tablespoons equals 1 egg, and because I want my waffles to have a kind of a springy, spongy feel to them, I'm actually going to put 2 eggs in this recipe. So that is going to be 4 tablespoons. So here's 2 tablespoons, 1/8 of a cup. And here's 2 tablespoons. So that was just equivalent to putting in 2 eggs. Now I'm going to add enough liquid that it'll easily give you the liquid you need for the eggs. It's 2 tablespoons of the egg powder here, and then 3 tablespoons of water for every egg. Okay, so now I have 2 of my wet ingredients already in here. I have my egg and I have my milk. I'm going to stir that in nicely now. Now at this point, I'm just going to dump in some of these freeze-dried blueberries. They work beautifully when it cooks. They end up being a really nice texture and flavor. And I'm not measuring these real carefully. I'm just going to dump in enough that it'll look good.
You're not going to refresh them ahead of time?
Oh no, I can put them in just like this and they cook just fine. Yep. A person could refresh them ahead, I guess, and go ahead and plump them back up, you know, with the water, but I find they work just fine if I just put them in just like this. There we go. Yum. A little bit blue fingers. Yeah, they seem to do very, very well. Just like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stir these in. There we go. Can you see in the bowl? All right. Okay. Now I'm not going to put my fat or my vanilla in. I'm going to add some vanilla also until I start getting a little bit of the water mixed in here so that it'll all blend really nicely. If you wanted to, you could put your fat and some water together, but this works out fine. So I'm going to go ahead. I know I'm not measuring this water really precisely, but you just have to kind of keep adding it until you get that nice, smooth, loose consistency that you want for the waffle batter. Notice that it will get thicker, and like if you're sitting there cooking, it'll get like thicken and thicken. It does that with regular waffle batter also, with regular flour. You just keep adding more liquid to make sure it stays a good consistency. But if this was going to be out of regular flour, I would not want to stir it to the point where I lose all the little lumps, because the lumps are kind of should be there. But I've discovered with the gluten-free flour, I want to make it pretty smooth. All right, let's put in some water now. It'll seem like I'm dumping a lot in there, but boy, once it all mixes in, it won't be that much too much, believe me. There we go. Now I've got enough of a consistency going here now that I can go ahead, and I've got half a teaspoon of vanilla. Yum. Ooh, I got some on my thumb, oh dear. So good. And now I have 2 tablespoons, and I'm just using extra virgin olive oil. You can melt butter or put whatever oil in you want. Coconut oil, you know, just in a liquid form. Okay, blend in that vanilla and the oil. And now the milk powder has turned into milk, and the egg powder is turning into eggs. Now this is going to turn a little bit bluish, and that's appropriate for blueberry batter. So, oh, look at that. See, it seemed like I put way too much liquid, but I didn't. It is a beautiful texture. So I'm going to just mix it pretty well here, because the gluten-free flour, you kind of want to really get it blended nicely. And we will be all set to make some waffles and use our beautiful blueberry syrup. Okay. Okay, so my beautiful little old waffle iron here says that it is ready. The green light came on. I don't need to spray anything on this. It won't stick. It is all set to go. And when I read the instructions, when I got the waffle iron, they said to pour it in a circle on the outside edges. Oh, I can hear a lovely sizzle. And then, of course, you let it cook until it stops steaming. And then you can start taking a look and seeing how the waffle's doing. There we go. All right. Sizzle, sizzle, yum. All right, got the first one cooking. Now, I hope you can see the steam that's rising up off of this. That's what's supposed to happen. It's got this nice steam rising up, and when that stops, then I'll check the waffle. Just, oh, I can feel it. Steam rising up. Waffle irons are nice because you can put it at the table and cook the waffles while everybody's at the table together. Doesn't keep somebody stuck somewhere off in the kitchen. I can cook them right here. All right, hardly any steam left. I'm going to take a peek. Oh yeah, that's looking great. It's a little crispy on the outside. Yep, a little crispy on the inside. Will be really tender. Awesome. I'm going to get another one started. Oh, between the bacon and the eggs and smelling the waffles cooking. Oh, once again, I wish I could have smell-o-vision for you guys. It smells so good. There we are. And I seem to be able to cook these without gooshing too much, like gooshing out the sides. It sure makes it easier cleanup. So, here we go. All right. We'll be putting more on there in just a moment. Let's see how we can fix this up. And I'm going to add some bacon and eggs. A little bit of butter. This is steaming up again. Good. Okay. And here we go. It's nice that it's kind of liquidy because it goes into the little pockets on the waffle very nicely. There we go. Oh, that looks wonderful. I am going to be sweet and wait for hubby. Beautiful. He is such a good egg cooker.
Bacon.
Yes, thank you. Okay, that's good. That's good. I'm going to get a napkin. I'm going to add a little salt and pepper to my eggs. And look at these. They're peacocks. See the little salt and pepper shakers? Can you see them there? I got these in St. Augustine when we were in Florida. And it was a memento to me because there's just peacocks everywhere. So I enjoy these. So a little bit of pepper from the peahen. And some salt from the peacock. There we go. All right, there's a waffle coming right up for you, sweetheart. There's some salt and pepper for you. Here's your silverware. There you go, sweetheart. Thank you for fixing the bacon and eggs.
Oh, well, thank you for the pancake and the waffles.
There's something about having the fruit that's just a good berry that is so light and refreshing. Oh, I can think of a lot of different fruits that would be really good with this.
This is interesting because it's not a pure, just like syrup. It's almost a little bit kind of pasty. Like you have to spoon it out a little bit or something.
Well, especially once it cools, once we
Yeah,
get it cooled
yeah.
off.
It turns more like a paste than a liquid. But talk about flavor. Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing in here except the blueberries and the sweetener, which we use monk fruit. No other kind of preservatives or chemicals of any kind. Just fresh tasting. Really, really excellent. So good.
You like the waffles, hon?
And like she said earlier, we use blueberry, but you could do this with the Thrive Life raspberry, strawberry, peaches, mango, you know, and mix several fruits together if you want.
Oh, that is so delicious.
Now I need
Good waffles, too.
I need to tell you about the Thrive Life gluten-free flour because, like she mentioned, it's the best gluten-free flour we've ever found. And Thrive has had it for years, but it's now what they call a limited time item, which means that it's not always in stock. They do a run, I don't know how often, twice a year, 3 times a year, I don't know. And then it'll go out of stock for a while before they do another limited run and run it again. So if you go to the Thrive Life website, there's a link at the top that says shop. If you click on there, you'll see a separate category for limited time items. And in there, you'll find all the ones that they only run a couple times a year, including the gluten-free flour. I just checked it this evening. This is beginning part of July 2022. Unfortunately, the gluten-free flour is out of stock right now, but they will be doing runs in the future. So if you're interested in that, just look for it.
Yeah. I sure do appreciate it. I feel like I can make real regular waffles and pancakes. What do you think, hon?
It's very good.
Yeah.
I don't need to eat gluten-free. And when she first started eating gluten-free, she was making gluten-free stuff for her and regular stuff for me. It was such a pain. And then we discovered the Thrive gluten-free flour. Now she just uses that all the time, and I can't hardly tell the difference.
And the monk fruit doesn't have any aftertaste. Finding something that isn't sugar, you know what I mean, it's a natural sugar substitute that doesn't have an aftertaste. I appreciate that. I'm really trying to just not be eating sugar.
A lot of people like stevia because it's all natural and it's just a plant.
Right, and I do. I like it, yeah.
But to me, it has a horrible aftertaste. The aftertaste from stevia to me is the same as the old saccharin used to be. Just really chemically, I can't stand it. The monk fruit, when we use the monk fruit, I can't tell that it's not just regular white sugar. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's very expensive, but it's
Yeah.
worth it.
Well, and we very seldom use this much at a time to make something like this. Of course, this is going to last for a while. But I sure appreciate it when I just need to sprinkle a little bit in some tea or, just add a little bit to something. It's really appreciated.
Well, so there you go. Blueberry waffles and blueberry fresh made syrup from Thrive Life freeze-dried food.
Yeah, the powder is wonderful to work with. It really is.
So I hope you've enjoyed this and forgive us while we finish eating.
Listen, we love you guys. Live simple.
Live free. You be blessed.
Yep. And we will see you soon. Thanks for joining in with us today. This leftover is going to go in the fridge and it'll be so good later too. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, that really is good. Yeah.